Yes, can you do that for a girlfriend?
I think probably until next year.
Yeah. There comes the time, doesn't it, when we have to change that. And it's fabulous to be motivated. It's fabulous to be creative, but if you're too knackered to bring it home, it has consequences. And I'm talking to you about that today from the point of view of the fact I've been running my business for 36 years. We would have celebrated it last month. Last month was the anniversary, but actually we were too busy and I didn't notice. So I haven't totally mastered the things I'm talking to you about today. I am a work in progress. Okay. How many of you in the room have been in business for more than 5 years? Well done. Right. Do you know that more than half of startups never make it to 5 years? I salute you, ladies, for your achievements. How many of you have been in business more than 10 years? You deserve a special award. Right. I know it's not quite the same as a pop. You haven't died for your country, but you very nearly died for your business, haven't you?
Yes.
It's hard work, isn't it? Only 10% of startups make it to year 10. So, for those of you in the room thinking, bad luck for the other 9 people, right, you've got to think about that because there's a reason for it. Now, we've got accountants in the room. Anyone here an accountant? Yeah. They're going to tell you that you need to get on top of your cash. And if you don't get on top of your cash, you're not going to make it to year 10 or anywhere else. Yeah? We've got people in the room in charge of marketing and sales. Anyone that sells a marketing person? You're going to tell them if you don't get a route to customers and convert that to cash, you haven't got a business, aren't you? We all have to put these pieces together. But this is my experience. I've been working with other businesses for 36 years in my own company. And before that, this is when you get to say, you don't look that old, girlfriend. I'm getting out of the line. Right? I'm sure about that. This is what I've really noticed, that we need to get our head on. Step 1, startup mode. You have to find a route to market. You have to find a way to get to your customers. I mean, I'm not the expert on that. You need to talk to Sarah about blogging, me blocks it off it. Whatever you need to do to get it done. And you have to find a way to make some money, don't you? Because if you've got a business with no customers and no money in it, it's going to be an ex-business pretty soon, isn't it? Anybody got a business with no customers, no money in it that's made it to 10 years? But when we're startups, we're really focused on, I'm not going to spend any money because I haven't got any, aren't we? And that's the mindset that we take into the next phase of our business. Now, when you've got a route to market, somebody's paying you for what you do. What do you need to do? More of it. I know it's basic. We're not doing an MBA in business here, are we? If you're making money out of something, you'll need to do more of it, don't you, to make more money?
Yeah.
So phase 2 of your business is you've got to deliver it reliably, not just when the kids are not at school or, you know, whatever. You've got to deliver it profitably. And for those of you that want to, you've got to be able to scale it up. I'm not suggesting, by the way, that everyone in this room wants to run a global enterprise, but however much money is enough money for you, you have to be able to scale it up, don't you? That might mean you plus the dog, who knows? But whatever your vision is, you've got to be able to do it. And what I'm seeing is businesses in step 2 acting as if they're in step 1. Right, so you've got no people, you're doing what you do at 3 in the morning, you're run ragged. Does anybody recognise this? Yeah. You don't really know where to turn. You thought having children was bad, having a business beats that, doesn't it? Because your children go up and leave home and they rarely hand you the bill. But a struggling business is constantly raiding your lifestyle, your health and your bank account, isn't it? Am I the only woman in the room who's ever struggled with that now? You're all financial geniuses, you made money from the get-go. So here's how I see it. Overwhelm is what prevents step 2 in your business. Business is a marathon. Now we actually have a marathon runner in the room. Right, Jenny? Amazing woman, by the way. You need to talk to her about her business and what she does, totally motivational, and just, I could take the whole of my talk to talk about how we're not going to do that. She wants to come and do her own. Right? Marathon runners do not get up on no breakfast, no sleep, no shoes because they haven't had time to buy any, no gear, and win the marathon. I hate to disappoint you ladies, but that you can run a marathon like that and you may finish-ish, but chances are you won't, really. And business is a marathon. You have to have the right shoes, the right gear, the right food to keep yourself going to the end. I think an awful lot of these businesses that don't make it to 5 years or 10 are just exhausted. They just can't go on. Suddenly having a job looks attractive, doesn't it? Have you got girlfriends who were not here today, were at last year's conference because they went back and got a JOB? Yeah. Chances are they're exhausted. They probably had a perfectly viable business plan, but they couldn't carry on doing that much work for that little money. So I call this the rising star syndrome. Now I have a girlfriend, she's not in the room today, just as well, and I was so impressed with her business 5 years ago. I can't tell you. She had it coming. She had the social media presence, she had the reputation, she was someone everyone looked up to, and I thought, she's going to be a contender. She's going to be one of those women that we all go, oh, I was on a stage with her once, she doesn't remember my name anymore, but I remember her. I really thought she was going to be that woman. I thought she'd be the Laura Morgan of the noughties. As I think of those decades, weren't they fun? But guess what happened? I started to hear from people. I ordered some stuff from her and it didn't turn up. I tried to ring her business and no one answered the phone. I actually sent her myself a £5,000 order. What would you do if I sent you £5,000 worth of business?
Get that.
Yeah, you get that to me. At the very least, but you know what I'd like you to do? Contact the potential customer. She didn't do that because she was busy. She didn't do that because she had other things to do. She had the classic women in business problem of she had kids, don't we all? Might have grown up there, still a load of trouble, but at least they're not little women anymore, you know. She had stuff to do, she had to go to the gym, she had to run this business, she had to travel, blah, blah, blah. And I said to her girlfriend, you need a virtual assistant. Anyone in the room at VA? Well done. You need to see that lady afterwards. And she said to me, and if you said this to yourself, I can't afford one. £5,000 worth of business, she kissed down the toilet because she couldn't afford a VA. What's your hourly rate, girlfriend? 25. So, let's get this straight. For maybe 4 hours a month of your time, she kissed goodbye to £5 grand. Was I the only person who sent her £5 grand worth of business? Anyone here so bad at maths that you can't work that one out? Please see the accountants urgently. So here's the thing. If you're thinking you've got no money to outsource, what's the plan? You're growing a business, aren't you? That means growing the work, doesn't it? So is it sleep deprivation? Is it never seeing your family as your plan? Give up sex, that's easy in some households, right? What is it you're going to do to make the time to run this great business? Now it's twice the size it was before. There were 24 hours in a day when you started it, there's 24 hours in the day now. Did you get any extra? Overwhelm will kill your business. If you've got your Superwoman pants on, as Jane Kenyon says, and you think, I can do it all because I'm a woman, you're kind of right, but you can do it all badly. So how do you know if you're getting to the point where you need to start changing how you think about your business? Because obviously on day one with no money, you're not going to be paying people for hours, are you? So let's have a look. Have you got an unfinished project on your desk that you know, not hope, will make money for your business? Hands up. Right. What is stopping you doing it? Time. Do you have more time than the people who are doing it? Or less time? We're all on 24 hours a day, aren't we? It can't be time that's stopping you doing it. When Richard Branson started Virgin, he had one store. I used to work with him then, by the way. Then he had 3 when I met him. it was really scruffy, little bugger, and he smelled, but let's do you think he sat there thinking, I'm not going to open a fourth shop because there aren't enough hours in the day and I can't personally run 4 shops? What did he do? He hired some people to do it because he understood that he was never going to have the lifestyle and the business he wanted if he insists on doing it all himself. So I'm not talking about stage 1 business now where you might make money, you might not. But if you're at stage 2 and you know your idea makes money, you've gone through like proof of concept, you've sold it to 10 people at the price that's profitable, and the only reason you're not launching it to sell it to 1,000 people is you haven't got enough time, you need to get your head straight. Because you've got all the time you need, you're just spending it in the wrong way. So if you go for this proof of concept stage, I'm really serious, you need to get past the what's stopping you stage. And what's stopping you stage is our attitude to money and time as women. Now I only really realised this when I married I still think of him as new husband, he's 10 years in, but he's a novelty to me. And the reason why I only realised it was I've been an entrepreneur all my life, my parents were entrepreneurs, and to be honest, I very rarely met people who had jobs unless they worked for me. That was kind of how my universe was. But I married this guy who'd always had a job, and he would say things to me like, we don't have enough money, so we've got to spend less money. And I go, that's interesting, I thought we needed to make more. So in his universe, he's a great budgeter. He will budget me to be able to live on £5 a week, I think, because he's so good at eliminating things, taking out expenditure, whatever. And at one point I said to him, you're driving me crazy, I need to spend some money on these things. And he went, we haven't got it. I said, I know, but as soon as I've made it, I'm going to make that money back, so I'm going to spend it anyway. Because we think about budgets like housewives, like shoppers, like fashionistas, don't they? Do you think Richard Branson refused to take on someone because he didn't have the cash in the bank? No, because he thought about it like a business person. But here's how it goes. What is your Christmas budget this year? Everyone spends money on Christmas, don't they? Even me, and I'm tight about it because I've got a new website coming online next year, so trust me, my Christmas shopping is with Sarah. Right? Anybody going to spend less than £100 on Christmas? Well done, you. My husband, I love you. No Christmas, nothing. No. Going to have a mince pie over the rest. Anyone going to spend more than £100 on Christmas?
Yeah.
Right? More than 500 quid. Right. 25 quid an hour for a VA. Right? I'm going to suggest to you that you halve your Christmas budget. You halve your shoe budget. You halve your having a nice drink with a girlfriend budget. Also saves the weight budget, by the way. And you devote that to someone to help you grow your business. Because if you don't spend all that money this year and you've got proof of concept in your business, you'll have 10 times the money next year. And if you're really keen to live it large, invest half of that back in again, and guess what happens? Because if your business makes money, the more you do of it, the more money it makes. And if you're not letting it do more because you can't do without sleep anymore, you're actually standing in your own way. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Now, if you've got to the point now and you're sitting here thinking, oh my God, I need to outsource. Think about what you could achieve in the new year. Here's my mini kind of emergency outsourcing plan. And I've got a blog on my website that gives you this at much great length, so don't try and memorise it, just check the Coffee Clutch website and look for the emergency outsourcing recipe. It is, have just one goal. Right, when you go to someone and say, sort out my entire life, it's really confusing for them because they don't actually know what you want. I spend a lot of time with VA, she's nodding her head. Right, one goal. I need my new website to work. I need whatever it is you need, one thing. And have one measure of how you're going to know if it works. New outsourcers are rubbish because they just want things sorted. But how are you going to know when it's sorted? Have a measure. Whatever it is. Right? It might be I want 2 hours of my life back every week, so you know when you got it back. It doesn't have to be complicated. You need to add in your own flavour. That's what's unique about you and your business. You know, we're not machines. And you need to work out what resources you need to give the person who's going to help you. Might be access to your website securely, that's another conversation. Whatever it is, it's no good telling people to do a job if you don't give them what they need to do. So make sure you've worked out the key resources. Make sure that you've given them the key information they need to do it, and make sure that you've worked out the key risk. What will happen if I don't do this? And what will happen if I do? And then maybe I don't get it right. Because you need to know what you're managing and what you're looking about, because business is about risk management. It's not about taking no risk at all. We women are very conservative. We always say we never run the economy into the mess it's in. And we're standing in a very prestigious building full of people who have trouble not getting into trouble with money, don't we, despite what they do for a living. And we go, I would never do that. But you need to have a little risk you can control. So maybe it's your shoe budget for next month. Something, you're not going to lose the house, you're not going to bet the farm. And what you need to do is make sure you've got the key skills on board that you need. I'm rubbish at web design, asked Sarah. She went around the back of my website, she went, I can't believe it's actually up. I'll give her my shoe budget. You can see that. But I'm happy with that because I'm not up all night going, why isn't it working? So you need to get your head on straight. It doesn't have to be Sarah. And you certainly need a deadline that's reasonable. It's no good saying to me, I want everything in my universe sorted out by Friday. It's not if it's my universe. And because I'm here with a spiel, you need a good contract, because if you think just outsourcing to people means you own the copyright, the IP, you've got no tax problems. Do I have to say the word Uber to anyone listening? It's not quite as simple as they are staff employees, so don't worry about it. Try telling that to the tax man when they come for you. So you need to get a team on it, ladies, and you need to relax and get a VA or a marketeer or whatever. Don't all kill that poor woman. Right, you can't sort it all out at once this side of Christmas. And here's the thing, this is my offer minimum for you, and you don't have to take it up. It's in your goodie bags, it's on my stand. If you're at that point of taking a VA, you can have one of our basic VA agreements. You can use it as often as you like. You can have a basic set of policies that will help you secure your data. I know it's all boring stuff, but if you don't do that, you're outsourcing from the frying pan into the fire. And we're also going to get my amazing guide to outsourcing, which is, by the way, 20 pages of serious information about how it works, not one of them lead magnets with a silly little picture on them. And there is the deal in the room, and instead of being 84 quid, it's 60 quid for the delegates here. And if you are a 1230 member, who is? You need to see Jackie for your extra 20% members only discount code. So I'm glad you're motivated, ladies. I'm glad you're up for it. I want you to be up for it in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, whatever, maybe not 30 years' time, I won't know, we'll care what you're up to, none of that. But you need to have a plan, and that plan involves people. So I hope you learned something from this. I'm not trying to scare you, and I wish you joy, and I want to see you in the new year with rubbish shoes and a fabulous team.
I think 2 questions for Annabelle. 2 questions. Who's got a question? Oh, hello, my dear.
Sorry,
Yeah,
got another
that's-
one.
No, that's fine. Put your hand up. Well done.
Very good. Well, Annabelle, I only know about this event because of you and Facebook, so thank you. But also, I did do this, and I ended up getting, you do have those moments where you get the wrong person, and then it ends up costing more money than what it's worth. For situations like that, what's your advice?
I think you need to be really careful about who you choose. Now, the reason why my emergency outsourcing plan, and it's on my website, is about one thing, is that I believe in testing the people you pay. It's a complete act of madness to hand everything over to someone that's really critical. I've spoken to entrepreneurs whose entire websites have been derailed because one graphic designer went off on holiday and never mentioned it, all sorts of stuff. There is more to it than that. But if you test people with little things, you get a sense of how they work, and that's why the emergency is a little thing. We all have recruited the person from hell, freelance or employed, you know. The trick is because you've got measures to figure that out early and to act appropriately early, and if you're having trouble with appropriate, I'm your girl. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But don't let one person put you off. You know, some people say, I never employ anybody because once upon a time someone upset me when they worked for me. Well, that's good. And it's the same with outsourcing, isn't it? Hands up everyone who's had a brilliant person on outsourcing. Is it? Hands up everyone who's had a rubbish person. That's the same. That's life, isn't it? So as we're working with people, that's how it goes. When we get to automation and know people, we've got another scenario, haven't we? Called unemployment for us all.
Fab, any other questions? One more? Got time for one more? Oh, hello. Coming over here. There you go.
Hi, it's more of a comment than anything. The best thing I ever did was actually get a cleaner. It was 3 hours. It was over 2 weeks, and that just kept me ticking over. The worst thing I ever did was get rid of the cleaner because I thought I had it under control, which has now cost me more time, which has led to costing me more money. Thankfully, we now have the cleaner again, and she will never, ever be going anywhere.
Totally agree with you. The biggest favour someone did for me when my business hit hard times, and it has, and he was at that point my brother-in-law, and he came to my house and said, "What are you doing?" You should have seen the house, it was a very good question. And he said, "Why don't you have a cleaner?" And I said, "Because I don't have any money." And he went, "I will pay your cleaner for 3 months. You can pay me back when you've sorted your life out." Yeah. So, you know, he was right. He had the cash, I didn't at that time, but I should never let you got that far. You know. And anyway, I was kind of doing business from home and we were a health hazard.
I'm on health hazard. Please can we give a round of applause for Fabulous Anna?